I quit teaching. Out of control students get 0 consequences with PBIS, restorative circles, and BIST. Somebody in chat said this is like a teacher who's mad they can't corporal punishment people anymore. What are we mad about?
The quality of parenting has changed. Therefore, I hate to say the quality of kids, but the moral development of kids that are coming into our classrooms are at a totally different place.
Everybody says this. All adults say this. Like, the modern generation of kids are so much worse than the previous generation. It's always said.
Whether or not people think corporal punishment should be brought back. And unfortunately, it was one of those time surveys.
There is no evidence that corporal punishment improves literally anything under anybody who's like wistfully, especially a former teacher who's like wistfully fantasizing about beating the shit out of the kids who are disrespecting them. That's you trying to fix your problems. That has nothing to do with the well-being of the kids. Every study we have is that corporal punishment makes things worse. Like, there's literally no reason. Vaush, you don't know how bad some kids can get, man? No, I know kids are terrible, okay? I know that. I have to deal with you people. That doesn't mean that we should just, like, emotionally, like, we shouldn't just, like, go, oh, well, this is frustrating, and then just jump into, like, ineffective teaching methods, you know? If you're a teacher, you have a responsibility. You're literally like an agent of the state whose job it is to educate the population. The kid's frustrating you. Like, this isn't like an emotional thing. This would be like telling somebody who works at the DMV, like, oh, customers being frustrating? Yeah, just hit them. Like, what? It's like, oh, yeah, you have no idea how DMV customers get, man. No, I do. I've been to the DMV. But that doesn't... that doesn't fix it. What do you mean? Cathartic as it may seem in your fantasies, this is not an effective solution to the line.
With the principal, building a relationship, and oftentimes talking about how horrible the teacher is. And again, we're...
Oh, she's so projecting. Dude, you send these misbehaving kids the principal, and they come back, and then it turns out the principal was talking shit about you behind your back? That's a you problem, my dude. I really don't think that the average principal is selling out good teachers to these, like, 5-year-olds.
And even more so, the worst behaved students actually get rewarded. So even if you totally 100 million% disagree with corporal punishment, I want you to imagine how different classrooms would be if we brought it back tomorrow.
Yep, okay, and now we're gonna we're gonna enter her fantasy where she gets to beat these unruly 5-year-olds, and then they all respect her. And that's where now we get, because she thinks about this a lot, and now we get to enter her world, okay?
A lot of you guys are cheering right now like, yes, bring it back. Because we know, whether you agree with it or not, at a deep internal level that it would work. And that's the...
Yeah, literally, we're in her fantasy right now. You know, hey, no proof, no studies. You know, okay, that it would feel good to beat those children and punish them for being mean to you. You know. Dude, it's literally like revenge fantasy porn for her. It's pretty fucked up. I'm glad she's not teaching anymore.
They lie, they cheat, they scream, they hit people, they bite, they spit. And depending upon how...
Okay, so we are definitely talking about 5-year-olds here.
That is or isn't handled when they're young, those behaviors can either get worse and more apparent, or they can get sneakier and more manipulative and learn to hide them better. And in a weird way, what I think a lot of these...
If you don't teach children not to bite when they're young, their bite strength grows more and more, and their bites become more dangerous. Stop your 5-year-old from biting out of anger today, or there will be a 25-year-old chomping people's arms off. The big shark bites, you know?
They focus so much on like, okay, let's sit in a restorative circle and talk about our feelings. Let's process with a counselor and talk about why what I did hurt other people.
This can work. It could, yeah, I know it doesn't give you the satisfaction of decking a 5-year-old, but those approaches can work. Yeah, I'm sorry it's not as cathartic to you, an adult who is biologically capable of emotional regulation, unlike the children you're teaching.
Some of the worst behaved children in the classroom have administrators and counselors completely fooled because they learn quick to adapt and how to play the game and how to get out of consequences.
See, this literally just all reads out of like projection. Like, there were kids she hated, and she was like, oh, these kids have the school counselors in their pocket. Like, she's seething at these 5-year-olds who are like, this 5-year-old has turned the principal against me. The school resource officers bought their trip. Like, I don't trust her at all, man. I mean, she's not a teacher anymore. Did she quit or get fired? I don't know. Like, that's really weird.
Change the definition of right and wrong so much. Kids are
see? It's the broader authoritarian thing. So underneath all of this, like her fantasizing about beating children, you know, is a fear of moral degeneracy. The authoritarian mindset. This is basically like the, it's teaching and nursing that are basically like the female equivalents to being a cop, you know? Like, they're gendered. And in both cases, people who are petty and power hungry and cruel will seek out careers where they have the power to fuck with people in a fashion which is almost like unchecked. You know, it gives them so much power. And that would be teaching and nursing. Those are the two big ones. And she's 100% doing the cop brain thing here, you know? Why spanking doesn't work. Whoa, get that evidence out of here.
You can riot, loot, burn.
Ooh. Riot, loot, and burn. Really, is that something students do, or is that something you're pulling directly from Republican headlines on Black Lives Matter protesters? Like I said, guys, it's cop brain. Not just the fascist, like, underlying logic. This is cop brain shit, 100%. Yes, these rioting 5-year-olds. These arsonist 5-year-olds. Yes, of course, naturally. Riot, loot, and burn. Just to be clear, by the way, for somebody whose job it was to manage the behavior of children, no sane teacher should default to those words when using hyperbolic language against the behavior of children. Like, think of where her brain has to be at for her to have to string together a sentence decrying the behavior of these students, and she goes to riot, loot, and burn, after earlier talking about pretty, you know, transparently inner city schools, right? Is she retarded? Unironically, what is happening here?
When a child is small and they get consequences and they associate bad choices with some kind of pain, that...
Guys, she literally just wants to beat kids. There's nothing subtle about this. That's literally all she wants to do. That's the whole reason for this video. That's literally it.
Like, a kid cusses me out and throws their lunch tray across the room, and I'm supposed to say, I'm not mad. You're just...
Yes! You're an adult! Yes! You are supposed to keep your cool when kids misbehave. It's your job. They're 5.
Awesome. No, that is so not real life. A student is allowed to say or do whatever they want to me, essentially, and I'm supposed to say, you're not in trouble.
They're children. Holy fuck, it's actually cop brain. It is kind of like, it's an interesting case study. It's like, it's an interesting case study, I think, into how the authoritarian mindset is usually most touted by very weak people. This woman is unbelievably weak. Like, she's still fantasizing about beating the children who gave her trouble when she was a teacher. Like, she's pathetic. And as like a reflex or like a defensive mechanism, she turns to these fantasies, these obsessive fantasies about punishing these infants because she can't control herself. And she knows that. She just doesn't think it's a bad thing. She's like, what? You expect me to keep my cool when a 5-year-old disrespects me? Yes. Holy fuck, she doesn't think people like that can change. Oh, there's no way this lady thinks people can improve, like, as a concept. She's definitely one of those people who mentally sorted the children she had in her class into good kids and bad kids, and she just felt like she just wanted to beat the bad kids because she didn't want to take no disrespect from them, and, like, she just wanted to spend time with the good kids. She essentially wanted to not do her job.
Because that's how it feels being a teacher in a classroom of sort of hostile little people, or big people if you're a middle school or high school teacher.
Yep, there it is. Elementary school teacher. There it is. All right, good. Now, just good to get the confirmation. There we go. Yes, the overwhelming, the agonizing terror of being in a room full of rowdy second graders and having them all despise you. I wonder why they hated her. How many third graders do you think she could take in a fight? I think this bitch would lose to, like, 3. I think one of them would, like, grab her hair and, like, hang off of it, and then 2 would, like, beat her up when she falls to the ground. It's over. No shot.
We were given this list of all of these skills that basically kids need to have, and it was literally all the skills that you're supposed to be taught at a young age by your parents, and we were expected to teach these kids all these.
Yeah, that's your job. Yes, you are school teachers. They spend, what, like 20 to 30 hours with you every week? Yes, you are partially responsible for raising them. That's the point. That's the entire point. I have to teach these children social and emotional skills. Yeah, that's like, dog, elementary school is like 10% arithmetic and 90% social and emotional skills. Just so you guys know, okay? When somebody is, getting the training necessary to be a kindergarten teacher or whatever, they're not being told the complex formulas of teaching colors, okay? What they're being taught is behavioral psychology for raising those children and teaching them social skills. That's the whole point. What do you think that like 5-year-olds are at school for like 8 hours a day or whatever, however long they are, I forget, 6 hours a day, learning colors? Like, why do you think they have reset? Why do you think any of this stuff exists? She's apparently a Christian teacher, according to an old video of hers. This doesn't surprise me at all. Not even remotely.
But just for action research, I read probably like hundreds of different posts from teachers, like all over the internet that are
posts. That's where you're getting your fucking info from. Your selection bias is cultivating the posts of other frustrated teachers and former teachers. She shouldn't have been a teacher. You don't have the fucking... Your neurons aren't developed enough to understand how to do research. You don't... Oh my God.
So my public service announcement is discipline actually equals love. Somebody also wrote...
Holy shit, dude. Well, that's a reinforcement of the Christian teacher narrative there. Fucking hell, man. There comes the Christianity. Yeah, the discipline equals love thing comes across as pretty rapey to me, too. Maybe it's a good thing she's away from kids. Yeah, no, the whole, like, sadomasochistic, I'm hurting you because I care about you shit, you will never be able to convince me that shit is not, like, hardcore pedo-coded. Zero shot.
Because the truth is, what we are setting kids and teens and young adults up for is just a disastrous future. They're not going to be ready for the real world. And they're not going to be happy. The truth is, I don't know if you could think of in your own life.
They weren't beaten as children. They won't be effective as adults. Never mind all the research that corporal punishment worsens everything. Sounds like she's not ready for the real world. She made a 20-minute rant video about how unfair it was that she had to do her job and that there were students of the teaching job that she chose to take because it's her job who were mean to her.
Honestly, what we're setting these kids up for, we're creating this artificial bubble where, you know, kids can like cuss out a teacher or somebody else and we tell them, I'm not mad, you're not in trouble. And the extent of their consequence is having a conversation, which usually actually is with somebody that kind of takes...
well, to be fair, having a conversation with this bitch would be the greatest punishment I could imagine. 5-year-old me would take the paddle over having to have a conversation with her for any length of time, for sure.
We also need to make a return to reality. And that's the fact that people are basically motivated by two things in life, love and fear. And I think that...
Yep. Guys, remember what I've said. Authoritarians are weak people, and she is vomiting projection all over this video. That's what motivates her. She has no higher moral impulses. She doesn't have any broader reason. Her faculties of reason are atrophied. She doesn't have any, like, higher consideration. She's essentially, like, admitting to being an NPC. You know what else is motivated entirely by love and fear? Ants. Like, what do you mean? Like, they love eating and they fear, like, I don't know, the stomp. I mean, what do you, like, you're basically saying you're like an animal who only responds to immediate visceral impulses and you don't have any higher moral considerations. But, honestly, I already thought that about her, so whatever.
I can't control as a teacher, like, if students like me or not.
Skillet. Oh my God. Dude, she's like a fucking projector. She's not even smart enough to understand that everything she's saying right now is like the most obvious read of her mind state, you know?
Most teachers are kind, good people that genuinely wanted to help young people live a better life through the power of education. And I'll stand by that. But the more...
oh man, dude. I might be reading into it too much here, but I actually think this is kind of pointed. Listen to exactly what she says.
...of teachers. Most teachers are kind, good people that genuinely wanted to help you.
Wanted. Are kind, good people, present tense, because she's referring to herself, wanted to help kids. She's referring to herself here. She's so locked, like she's such a narcissist. She's projecting so hard. She's only talking about herself here. Nothing that she's saying in her mind is like a broad statement of fact of teaching. It's like she's literally just venting. And she's really bad at hiding it too. She should have never been the teacher. She's not smart enough to be one. I actually mean that. Leaving aside that she's like a power-hungry authoritarian bitch who wants to beat children, and a bunch of other negative stuff I could say. I just don't think she's smart enough for it. I don't want the next generation of children to be raised by people like this.